Right, so let's start into the next session of exploring how we can use our collection cookbook, the different ingredients, to see how we can unlock some passage in our little quarter horse mare Tango. So you may have already seen the steps before and how far we got, and especially in the last session where I spent more time relatively with hardly moving anywhere to find out how can I unlock more front lift and more up and forward reach to take this to any form of a passage. And I said any form, I would love to tap with her into something like roll passage or even Spanish trot. So this is what I'm playing with also today. Yet I will also play a little bit more of taking those ingredients into some more forward motion to see if we can unlock a little bit more towards the passage. What do you think, Tangy? I think she's ready for some cards. All right, so don't be too surprised. I start with some three-step framework. Oh, starts already good with the flies. I just thought, hopefully we are not getting so many of those annoying flat flies today. So this is my first sequence. My heart is melting. This was the very first sequence I just started here with Tango. And so I focus mainly on the connection and then the position. First, in the first seconds, the connection wasn't there because she was busy with some flies while I was asking her if she can click into me. So it took a little bit and then the position came up. And then we already kind of started off where we ended off yesterday, where especially with her right front, she did this up and forward reach. Okay, let's see. Okay, just set my equipment. Ask her to come a bit more parallel next to the fence. Oh. And now I go a little bit with the flow, depending on what she does, with some up and standstill and up combined with backing up and forwards. So there's a little bit like yesterday in the beginning, some non-compliant happening. So she leans a bit forward and down with her head and neck, where I come with a +1. And so far, similar like yesterday, I only do it with either a little bit of steady energy, my +1, or mostly rhythmic energy. But now at the end, I brought in some rhythmic energy with the stick because she pushed again and again, and I was not effective enough with my hand technique. So I can bring in here the stick. Okay, good. Collapsed a little bit. So now my main focus is being in the three-step framework, but getting a higher level of compliant with her head and neck. And it's not about that she has to take her baseline horizontal. That's not what I even want. But I don't want that she just like now, if I allow her, she just pushes or leans with her head forward and down. And this is something I want to address. Good, good. And up and back and up and forward. Now also with the right front and then up and back and up and forward. And now combine it with the non-collection. Then I'll skip them up from the non-collection. So a little bit of putting together the ingredients like yesterday. Yesterday I mainly came out of the standstill. Ooh, nice. And I stopped here. So the first sequence, or I think it was the second now, was relatively long in comparison to how I started yesterday. But of course, this is something, a progression I can put some variation in. And also wanted to feel when is the connection getting better, and therefore when is the outcome of the collection more in the direction we want it. Good. So it's a fine line because I want that she stays up with a pole, but I want to allow her, you see, I give her the freedom with the head and neck, that she can put her face line more towards vertical. But I don't want that at the same time she drops like a waterfall with her pole. So therefore then I go with my hand more here under the throat ledge. Okay, now already bringing some requests in for higher steps. The right front leg already did something, and again. Starts to march a little bit more with the front legs. I could imagine it's a bit difficult for you to see from the angle. Not much happening, so I change ingredient and go more towards foot. Yes, this was nice. The last 2.5 steps, I think. Okay, I think I go again to the long side. And start from the non-collection. And experiment this time. Going already to some trot. And basket up now. Slow down my steps, which is a change in ingredient. Yes. Bend a bit towards canter, but still pretty nice. And it took quite some meters to get something to happen. So therefore I'm happy with that outcome. And I learned that I have to put my hair a bit away because otherwise I can't see what's happening. So this time I will do the flash forwards. And I think I back up first a little bit more so I'm better. You guys have a better angle to see. And I do this back up in non-collection, as you can see. So my main aim is here the connection. Look for some position in non-collection. Can test. Will you do more if I add in the rhythmic energy of the stick? It should did. Then I ask her up. Good. Is the shoulder better away from me? Good. And again, up and back and up and forwards. And take some forward out, change an ingredient, ask up and back. Wow, she held it longer up. Now she leans a bit forward, so I ask her up and back. Come on. Now I take some step length out because this was now mainly rushing back. Good. Now her front legs are more towards vertical, if you look. Good. Now, else can you come up? Yeah. Nice. I think she was trying some cool things, even 3 times. Which the last jump went a little bit more towards passage. What do you think? Let's start again with moving hardly anywhere. Now she has here too much backwards, so I give some power towards the hind quarter, which kind of says, please put a bit more power in. And as I'm far back towards the tail, also said, please not so much backwards. She got a bit agitated. Oui. Yes. So now I changed the ingredient a little bit because the power right now is over the group. And I think she did that really sweet. I'm going towards non-collection, not fully. Now ask her up. Oops, I did that too abrupt, so we stopped. Now ask her to come up here. Now I think the ingredients with bigger steps. Come on. Something. Not much. Ask for a bit of power again above. Take this into the forwards. So here it's for sure flatter the steps. Some hopping started to happen. Okay, there was a little bit. And as the sequence was quite long, I stopped on the little bit. Now I would like to get a bit more than a little bit before I stop. Wait, this was nice. Yes, nice, thank you. Now see when we combine this with some power here. So here she puts the power in some piaffe steps, but more flat. Can you see? So therefore I have to change if I want that she comes more up with her steps. Meaning I have to change the ingredient here again. And I change again because nothing changed in her, so I have to change. Yes. So it feels like if we lose it, it's best if we do some up and standstill and combine it with a little bit of back and a little bit of forward. So literally the first step framework with hardly moving anywhere to get the high steps back. Come from the non-connection. So here now I brought the stick over the end because when I asked for up and back, she had the tendency was more back than up and back. So more back than up. And you have to be a bit careful with the fence, even though it's not turned on, but I don't want that she gets her leg in. Oi, nice. So it seems quite evident that the best outcome so far with these high up forward reaching front leg motion comes when we hardly move anywhere. So I want to stay with this a little bit longer today. Okay. And now go back to the request for collection. Nice. Good. Good. Let's see if we can get something with the left front happening as well. No. Nice. Again with the right one. Good. Nice. Okay. If I do too much above her group, two flat steps come. Come on. It's empowering. Yes. Yes. Could have stopped there. And a little more. Yes. Uh-huh. Again? Yes. Nice. Okay, now I could even ask it 3 times. So now I have a go from her other side because I feel like from the other side we're a bit more successful with that idea. But I need some reloading of carrots. She said, yes, more carrots, please. Okay, let's see what we can get. She wants to get the handle. That's a bit new that she does that. Huh? It's clearly not a carrot tango. Okay, power. Wow, nice. So also a pattern we can see here often when I ask her to get parked in parallel next to the fence and I ask her first to go sideways and then directly ask her to come up, that somehow the energy builds up and she has a nice pump up from this. Yeah. Wow. Mhm. Ooh, super sit down, little girlie. Yes. Okay. Fly alarm. Ooh, that's too good. So it's pretty cool to see what she can does here from kind of the standstill with her right front leg, because if you imagine if she does that from a trot, this will be pretty impressive to see and probably pretty impressive to ride. Okay, try again. So here she was leaning on my hand and a little bit with her shoulder, so therefore came a bit, yes, +1. Wait, yes, thingy. Wow, this was more towards do passage. Also cool. So I think the ingredients here were more towards do passage because she was pumping up so much sitting down, and this we hardly moved anywhere. So therefore, these ingredients set her up more for the do passage, which is fine because she hasn't offered much do passage yet in her life either. All right, then 2, 3 more goes, and then she's done. Yes. Oi. Wow. Super sit down. Yes. Oi. Let's see if we can put a bit of forward on. Yeah. Now we have to see how can we. Oh, do passage. Doo-doo. What I just wanted to say is now we have to be cautious of keeping the ingredients that allow us so much to come up and be expressive with the front legs, but taking it more into the forward without losing that so much. And this is now the exploring, where we see how do we have to put the ingredients together that we can get that. Okay, can you do it again? Thank you. Oh, now she was way more compliant. Okay, power on, little girl. Yes. Oops. Operator error. Okay. And again, before, I think 2 jumps before the canter, I think there was one diagonal pair of passage. Only celebrating in the background, so let's say there was one diagonal pair of passage. Call it a day, probably. My mind wants to get it a little bit more, but I think it was pretty sweet for today. So I stop. There's always a tomorrow. Okay, so another day of exploring here how we can put ingredients together, how we can build up first a connection and a position and a posture, then ask for some power. And then within those construct, within this framework, seeing how can we use ingredients of different whole height, of different step lengths, of different energy levels and different gaits, and say, okay, or styles as we call it, what is she offering us? And if it goes towards where we want, we can keep going with this set of ingredients. Or if she offers something different, then we can play and put different ingredients in, or take some out, or put more of something in what's already there. Okay, then let's see what we can unlock in the next session.